Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Harp, and today I will be talking about how to apply for interest sponsor form. This is a very simple, straightforward process, and this is going to save you a lot of money. I will talk about how this process of 2020 is different from 2019 process. In 2019, it was first come, first serve. So I think it took maybe like within 10 minutes 20,000 people applied and it closed. So the first 20,000 people to apply, they all got their ITA, which is invitation to apply, and they were able to sponsor their parents or grandparents. However, this year, 2020, it is on lottery based, which means you don't have to be the first one to apply to get the ITA. You simply have to fill in your interest to sponsor form. You just have to submit it. Doesn't matter you submit the day one, doesn't matter you submitted day five, you have about 20 days to apply. So this opens, I'll tell you about Vancouver time, which is my local time. So this is going to open on October 13 at 9 a.m. in the morning, and this will close on November 3. So if you are able to apply on, let's say, November 2nd, that is fine. Your interest to sponsor form will be taken, and this will be basically put into a lottery-based system, and your ITA will be given to you on random basis. It'll be a random pick. It is not first come, first serve, so you don't have to sit near your computer at 8:50 a.m. on October 13th. It does not matter. Even if you're the first one to send it, you're not guaranteed to get an ITA. It is completely random pick. All right, so let us get started. So first of all, this is very simple, and this is going to save you a lot of money. So you don't need any immigration consultant, or you don't need anyone's help. It's very straightforward. And if you are wondering where to find this link, it would be in the description box. Please check that. And then if you haven't liked already, please hit that like button and that subscribe button. This is a new channel, and I will be bringing more news to you guys. So let's get started. So this is the page which you need to find. It clearly says sponsor your parents and grandparents, and this in detail it talks about the process. So this is the process, and this is the fees. So once you get the ITA, then you pay the fees. You don't have to pay it right away. So once you get the ITA, or if you're luckily picked, and then you have to pay the $1,050 fees. The process takes approximately 20 to 24 months, which is pretty straightforward. And about the process, you have to support them, and then financially, and then if they use any government support, you have to pay it back, because you're taking the responsibility. To check your ability, the main things you need to care about is you have to be at least 18 years of age, you have to live in Canada, you must be a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident or a person registered in Canada as an Indian, under the Canadian Indian Act. This is a very important one. You have to have enough money to support the person you want to sponsor. So in this one, if you're living with your spouse, so you have to count yourself, your spouse, and a number of people you're sponsoring. Let's say you're sponsoring only two people, so that makes you, your spouse, and two people you're sponsoring, a total of four. And the quota for different people is different. I will talk later in the video about that as well. So if you live outside Quebec, there are different scenarios. So it basically says that the undertaking commits you to providing financial support to your sponsor family members for 20 years, which is a lot. In British Columbia, where I live, it is not that long. But you can read more about that if you live in Quebec. If you don't live in Quebec, it is different. All right, let's get here. So who cannot sponsor a grandparent or parent? Well, it's the same thing. If you're less than 18 years of old, and you won't live in Canada, so let's say you sponsor your parents, but then you decide not to live in Canada, so that's not going to work. You have to live in Canada, and then you have to be able to support them financially, and they're going to be dependent on you, and you have to take the responsibility. You cannot apply if you're not a Canadian citizen or you're not a PR. And then if you are on a temporary visitor visa, study visa, work permit, you won't be able to sponsor your parents. You have to have, if you don't have if you don't have enough income to apply, sponsor them, you won't be eligible. So even if you're picked up by ITA and they ask you to give your notice of assessments for the previous years and then your income doesn't support, they're gonna refuse it. So you have to um, know about that. You may not be eligible to sponsor your parents if you have been to jail or you have committed some fraud or you didn't pay immigration loan, any sort of that stuff. You can look into more detail. Um, let's say who can apply. All right, so who can apply? So as we talked about earlier, if you are a PR, you can apply. And who can you apply for? Your parents or grandparents. You cannot apply for your in-laws. Your spouse can apply for their parents and you can be a co-signer. So that's one thing. So people you're sponsoring, they have to have medical exams done. They have to have police certificates and they have to give biometrics if they have not given already. Biometrics, they stay valid for 10 years. So if they have done in previous years, then it's fine. You can use the old biometrics. They stay valid for 10 years. All right. So these are just some of the examples you can read in detail. Sponsoring, yeah, it's the same thing that I've just talked about. Who you cannot sponsor you cannot sponsor your in-laws. However, you can be a co-signer to your application, just like we talked about earlier. Someone who is inadmissible to Canada. This means they're not allowed to come to Canada, so obviously you cannot sponsor them. So how do you submit just like this one, this is the noon EDT on October 13, 2020, which makes the Vancouver time to be 9 a.m. on October 13, and it closes at 9 a.m. on November 3rd. So keep that in mind. You can apply. You can even apply at like 8 a.m. or you can even apply at 8:50 a.m. on November 3, and you'll still be eligible to be entered into the lottery system, and you can still get your ITA if you're lucky enough and if you get picked. So the format, and these are, you can either fill online. I would suggest doing it online. It's much easier, does not take long. However, you can also send in the mail application. Over here it says how do you do it. It's just please read through this. So how to fill out the form. If you fill out a form, please do not submit another one. If you end up making a mistake, this is where you go to correct your mistake. This is the link you click. So they're basically gonna eliminate if you end up putting more than one interest to sponsor forms. So if you prepare everything beforehand, this will help you a lot. So get all the information ready that you need, in order to fill out your interest to sponsor form. It's very straightforward, very easy. So basically get the passport photos of everyone you're going to sponsor because you would need their names, you would need their date of births. And also, if you are the one sponsoring, you would need your passport copy, and it has to be less than 2 MB. So please keep that in mind. So yes, this is all. You must live in Canada. You must fill everything. You need your address. This is where they tell you like what kind of format. Like if you live in 123 John Street, and instead of writing street, just write SD dot. And then if you live in like 123 Avenue, just write AVE dot. So these are just like example of the format that you can use. Financial responsibility, of course, you can click on this and you can check um, how long you'll be financially responsible for. This is the passport. So again, please scan your passport, have your passport PDF ready, and it must be less than 2 MB. So this is again the same thing. You can use your passport copy, you can use your PR card, but for PR card, please use the first and last, the front and the back side of the card. It's a must. Also, if you have a confirmation of PR residence, please keep that certificate or keep that document ready, scan it. Make sure it's smaller than 2 MB, and then make sure you know the number of it, because sometimes you get confused. There are like a lot of numbers on a document, so keep in mind you know the number. So Canadian Citizen certificate or card, if you have that, please keep that. So everything you need. So you don't need all of these. You just need, like, you can use any of these. So any of these you can use, and they give you some detail information as well. So right here, the maximum file size is 2 MB. So if it's bigger, you won't be able to. You can reduce it, but you won't be able to submit it. So you can only upload one file. So as I was just talking earlier, you only need one of these. You do not need all of them. All right, so it can be in PDF, it can be in JPEG, it can be in TIFF or PNG, which is image, and can be in doc. So yeah, after you submit your interest to sponsor form, you have to wait. If you have provided your email, they can also send you an email about your ITA, and you'll have 60 days to send in the full application. So if you do not get the ITA invitation to apply, then you have other options such as Super Visa. You can apply for Super Visa. Your parents or grandparents, they can stay in Canada for up to 2 years, and then they can even extend their time by 1 year. So again, this is like the 2020 process. This is again the time when it opens. It opens at Vancouver time. It opens at 9 a.m. on October 13, closes at 9 a.m. on November 3rd. So when you send the application, so they can send you invitation. Please keep checking your junk mail, spam, because you can get a invitation and you might not even notice because it was in your spam. So it doesn't matter if it's been more than 60 days, you won't be able to apply. It basically expires in 60 days. So make sure you keep checking your junk and spam in order to find out. So they also announce the rounds invitation on Facebook page or Twitter account or on website. So keep checking that when they do it. So they're gonna do a total of 10,000 IT. They're gonna send a total of 10,000 IDA this year. So if you're invited, so again, 60 days to apply, and then this is where you have to prove your income. So there's certain income that you have to prove and that you need. So depending on like how many people you're going to be sponsoring or how many people you're going to be responsible for financially. So are they 4 people, 5 people? It's a different income requirement for different people, different number of people. So this is where you prove your income. 2020 notice of assessment, 2018, 2019, you would need to approve at least for 3 years. They're just saying that 2020 is not available, but again, it is about, so if it's going to be, if it's for 3 persons, it's about 40,000. And if it's for 4 person, it's about 49,000 or 50,000. So it stays around that every year. All right. So again, if you're not invited, you have other options such as Super Visa. So it's very simple how to apply. So you come here, they're gonna open up a page on this website where they're gonna ask you a bunch of information. And for instance, your name, the document type you're submitting, which can be your Canadian passport, your PR, or any of the certificate. So you basically click on what your document is, and you select and you insert the file. So first is submit the interest to sponsor form. We have already gone over the steps. Second is get an ITA, invitation to apply. They're randomly selected, and they will be sending 10,000 ITAs. Third is getting the application package. So once you get the ITA, you would need to get the application package, and you have to send it away. So you need to have a document checklist. Basically, you check everything you need, and then the people you want to sponsor. You need to you have to have forms. You need to fill in the forms, the application. You need to attach all the documents that you need for such as police certificates, medical, other requirements that are in the document checklist. Um, so this is later once you get the ITA, if you get the ITA. All right, so this is just how do you find the information. How do you pay your application fees? In most cases, your fees are included. Processing fees, excuse me, processing fees for you, the person you're sponsoring, and their dependents, the right to permanent fees, the biometric fees. So all these fees you have to pay before you send away your medical. So this is the biometrics. Again, the third party fees is your medical exam and the police certificate. You have to pay them, like, to the agency where you get them from, so not to the government straight. Oh, then you submit your application within 60 days, a complete package. They're going to return your application if it's incomplete or is missing. So everything you need. So if you weren't invited, obviously they're going to return your application. All right. So if they ask you additional information, you will have to send in additional information such as biometrics. So once you submit the package, they will send you a letter stating this is your biometrics number and you have to go get it done. So you would take that letter, you would take it to Service Canada near you, and you would have to give it to them, and then they'll do your biometrics. Again, medical and police certificates if you haven't done already. So this is after you apply. So you would just wait for 20 to 24 months to get your PR, and then in the meantime, you can keep checking. They can send you, information. Oh, if something is missing, please provide. So just that. And if you have any more questions regarding anything, please ask in the comment section below. I would be happy to answer everything. So you can also track your package and you can keep checking your status online. So just that. But for now, the main thing you have to focus on is how to apply for ITA. And it's very simple, very basic. You can totally go here, and number 4 is where you need to go. You click on number 4. This is where they're going to open a little form, and in that form you have to fill in your name, your information, how many people you're sponsoring, how many people are in your family unit, so everything. So all right, thank you so much.